Hello, and welcome to Answering Your Comments with Makari. If you take your seat, the show is about to start. Hello everyone, my name's Makari, and welcome back to Answering Your YouTube Comments. Now, I really love answering some of your comments, but please try and make sure that if you want to get your questions in, to leave a comment down below. It can be anything you want, but try to look back through the other videos so you don't keep asking the same questions, because otherwise I will likely not answer it, because we're getting a lot of repeat questions like, where does Top Hat Harry come from? Why do you do video games? As much as I love reading your questions, there's only so many times I can actually answer them, and it's like, I don't want you guys to feel like you're being ignored, because you're not. It's just I can't answer the same question over and over again, basically. So that's why I may not have answered your question. So, without further ado, thank you to everyone who has asked questions in the previous videos and whatnot. So we will get on with this one now. The first question comes from Rob Dog the Gamer, who asks, if you could live anywhere in the world, I assume, where would it be? Now, I've always wanted to live in Canada. Canada, for the very fact of it being beautiful. Canada is like, to me, what I would imagine paradise would be, but obviously, if I went in the countryside, and like the far north of Canada, where it's all cold and icy and stuff, and I mean, if there was a day in my life where I didn't rely on the internet to make my living, where I didn't need to do artwork every day, and I wanted to go live out in the wilds like a hermit or something for a couple of years, I would love to live in the north of Canada, just in a little hut in the mountains somewhere, living off the land and enjoying the scenery and all that sort of stuff, because it would be beautiful. Have you ever seen pictures of the north of Canada? Holy shit, it's beautiful. There's zero crime. I say zero crime. There's almost no crime. Everyone's happy, eh? And it's just such a lovely place to be. I've seen so many pictures, I've seen so many videos, and it just seems like somewhere that I would love to go and stay for a while. Estefan HD asks, hey Makari, if you could go back in time, what would you say to you from the past? What would you advise him? Well, that's a troublesome question. I know. Let's go back and find out. Hey, you! Yeah, you definitely don't want to eat that pizza, because, oh boy, you are not going to have a good time if you go and eat that thing, my friend. It leaves you with a ruptured stomach and you'll be on the toilet for an hour. No, I don't really have anything else to tell you, I'm afraid, so, yeah, good luck with that. Anyway, I'm going to go back to my time now. Okay, now that time-traveling predicament is out of the way, our next question comes from Madison Springer, who asks, hey there, I have a doozy of a question for you. Do you have any paranormal/unexplained stories from your life? Whew, I was wondering if we'd get this question. I'll be perfectly honest, I do not really believe in ghosts or anything of that paranormal nature, but I have had some unexplained things happen to me in my life that would be considered paranormal, being paranormal, something that's not normal, I guess. There was a time where I was in... I think I must have been like 18 or something. I was back when I was living with my mother. I was on my own in this house. My mum was up in Scotland, I believe, visiting somewhere, doing a road trip or something, and my sister was visiting a friend for the night, so I had the entire house to myself. I used to be really paranoid about being on my own. I used to get anxiety about being on my own. But this was the sort of time where I was sort of growing up to learn to live to be on my own sort of thing. And I remember this night in particular because I was kind of paranoid as it was, and the experience sort of still rings true in my mind, and I can sort of vividly picture it now. So it was about 10 o'clock at night. I was almost about ready to get to bed, and I heard a thud downstairs, and I thought it was maybe something just falling over. Anyway, I go downstairs just to make sure that no one's broken in, and okay, so imagine that door back there is the entrance to my room, right? So I'm stood in the door. Excuse me, also do my fly. So fly, man. Anyway, I'm stood in the doorway here, and I swear to by gummery, there was a figure stood here. Like I could see like the silhouette in the luminous darkness of the room, and that has been stuck. And obviously, I turned the light on, and there's no one there. Like, so whether it was a trick of my eyes, but what makes it even creepier was for the entire night, I kept hearing what I thought were footsteps. Now, to me, I explain everything away with reason, like, oh, the footsteps were from people next door because our 4 floorboards were connected, or the shadow I saw was a trick of my eyes. But the thing that makes it almost hard to explain away was there was nobody next door in the other house. Our neighbours were never there. And the shadow figure, I'm not sure, that might have been my trick of my eyes, but it has always just been stuck in my head because of just the noises I was hearing all night, the figure that I think I saw, and just thinking about it just gives me the willies actually. So yeah, that would probably be that would be one of the unexplained paranormal events I've had. That actually just gives me the willies thinking about it. Let's move on to another question, shall we? Claudio asks, I heard you like cucumbers. Who told you these secrets? Was it Sarah Wolf? Ooh! In case anyone's wondering, this is a very heavily Twitch reference thing. If you want to find out why I like cucumbers, turn into my Twitch sometime. You might find out why. Erme the Kitty asks, when did you start drawing and start posting your first art online? Well, that's a long story, because I've been drawing since I was 11. Back when I was in secondary school, or just going into secondary school, I just started randomly doodling from things from Gaia Online, as embarrassing as that sounds. And realistically, I guess that was when it started. I'm going to have a little collab of things that, starting from the first thing, and up until some of the more recent things that I've drawn. So keep an eye up here as I explain. So I started drawing when I was about 11 or so, and then when I kept doodling and drawing all the way up until I was about 18, and when I was 18 I actually started making a little bit of money off my artwork, just a little bit here and there from people who wanted to commission me to do little things like sketch their character or whatnot. And I can still remember the very first commission I ever took. It was for £1 and it was to draw a picture of Sephiroth, which might actually appear up in the little collab there somewhere, I don't know. And then when I hit 18, I started taking things a little bit more professionally. I started scheduling when I did my artwork, how much artwork I did, charging a little bit more. And then when I hit about 20, my art was essentially almost my full-time job. I still, at that time, I was still working at McDonald's. My art was just something I did when I wasn't there. And as of last year, my art is now my full-time job. It is the only thing I make my money from, other than donations, which come from Twitch every now and again. But that's I don't include that in what I earn. So yeah, it's been a long road with my artwork, and I could not ask for any better job, because doing my artwork allows me to do this. It allows me to do YouTube. It allows me to have the time to do Twitch, and it allows me to interact with you guys a lot more, because I get to do these art giveaways. I get to do funny little thumbnails that you all seem to enjoy. Yeah, it's a strange thing, and I hope you've all enjoyed the little art show as well, because it's a bit of a pride for me as well to be able to say that I've managed to make my hobby my job. Sir Meowface Live asks, and a little shout out to this guy, he's my PA sort of advertisement dude on Twitter, so little shout out to him, my friend, thank you very much for all you've done for me. My question is, what is your views on big game companies using programs like Steam Early Access to showcase their games while still in beta versus small indie devs doing the same? Now, I have absolutely no problem with indie games or big developers using any means possible to make their games publicly available. My problem comes is when either a indie game... Harry, your eyes are skewy, there we go. is when they start using them and exploiting them. Prime example would be, let's say either an indie developer or a AAA developer. They put their game on Steam, and it's obviously not finished. And then people start saying, "Oh, you have this problem with your game. You have this problem with your game," and they don't listen. Or they then start getting raging, taking the game down and not doing anything with it. Or they then use it as an excuse to make up excuses as to why there are problems with the game and then not fix it in the later patches. Or they start charging ridiculous prices for it. That is the only time I really would have a problem with that. I see no problem with using early access and all that for people to be able to experience what these developers, especially for indie developers. Early access is a brilliant way for an indie developer, or heck, even AAA developers, to showcase what they can do. There are so many indie developers that I've done Let's Plays for, or like Indie Time, for example, where I've played their game that's in early alpha or early access even, and you get an experience as to what they can do before their games are released, and you can make a judgment call as to whether you're going to stick with this company or person and play more of their stuff. So I don't see it as a bad thing, just so long as they don't take the piss, essentially. Oh, here's a good one. Brandon William asks, if you could make any costume to wear to a convention, what character would you cosplay as? There are a number of characters that I would love to cosplay as. I'm going to put pictures of them up here as I mention them, so just to give you an example as to why I would play them. So, character number 1, which I think I would not even have the remote physical capability of doing because I don't have the muscle for it. But I would love to cosplay as James Raynor. He is the perfect definition of masculinity and rugged good looks and the outlawish nature of space and stuff, and he's also quite a badass. But it's just the way he looks. I think if given the fact I could grow a beard or something, the cosplay would be quite easy to pull off. If I could go for like an outlandish cosplay, I feel like I would want to cosplay as one of the Warframes from Tenno, probably Limbo or something, but that would require a lot of effort on actually making the armor, and that might not even be remotely possible. But for those who don't know, Limbo is one of the characters from Warframe that actually has a top hat built into his armor, which I thought was fucking awesome. Another character I would love to cosplay as, I guess I would really like to cosplay as either Thrall, maybe, from World of Warcraft, because he's such a friggin' not green hipstery Thrall, but like old Thrall with his shoulder blades of awesome and his doom hammer. Or maybe even Garrosh. But then again, I'm nowhere near muscly enough to play those characters. I suppose one other one would be Alucard, probably the only anime character I would ever cosplay as, because his trench coat and his hat and his goggles are just so freaking awesome. On that same vein, maybe even Vash the Stampede from Trigun, because they have very similar outfits. There are others I would love to cosplay as, but those are sort of like the top ones up there for me. Ryan Knutson asks, are there any English stereotypes that you can confirm are true? Well, my good man, I can definitely confirm to you that we Brits love a spot of tea. Yeah, it's empty. But we love our tea. We love our tea with 1 sugar, or maybe no sugars, or milk even. Have it with or without milk. I'm sure you can understand how we say that. It depends on what part of Britain you come from as well, whether you're an educated fellow like myself. Certain British people get these eloquent types of voicing like I do, where you can make yourself sound like a rather posh bastard. But then you go down to the southern. That sounds like a fucking Irishman. By gum, then you go down to southern folk where you get in your tractor and you're all like fucking southern folk, eh? Or something stupid like that. Another British stereotype that I sort of reigns true is we say bugger a lot. Or at least if you're a posh bastard like I am. Or at least you try to sound posh anyway, but you say bugger a lot. You say arse and turds and silly swear words like that. Or my mum used to always say up the apples and pears, which I suppose is stereotypically British. We love our crumpets. I freaking love crumpets with like Marmite and butter, and oh, it's making me hungry. Sorry, what were we talking about again? Alright guys, that'll be it for this episode of Answering Your Comments with Makari, and I hope you've all enjoyed it. I hope it's been a bit enlightening for you. If you want to ask your own question, feel free to. Again, please try to make sure that they're original as possible. I will try to answer as many as possible in the due time. And again, I hope you've all enjoyed this. I can't really think of any other questions that might come to mind at this point, but anyway, thank you very much for watching guys, and I will see all you top hatters in the next episode. Ta-ra.